No stranger to controversy, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is making headlines again, this time in a breaking news story just out today. ABC News is reporting a former top law enforcement official in Florida is suing Governor DeSantis for forcing him to retire after he refused to carry out orders he says were illegal or inappropriate. It's not the first time these two have butted heads, and this seems to be the culmination of an ongoing internal struggle where accusations of illegal or inappropriate behavior have been leveled by both sides. Well, back in December of 2023, the Washington Post reported a battle over Governor DeSantis' travel activity and information about his state taxpayer-funded security detail. This from when he was crisscrossing the country seeking the GOP presidential nomination.
Truth must be our foundation, and common sense can no longer be an uncommon virtue. I'm Ron DeSantis, and I'm running for president to lead our great American comeback.
As we dig into today's breaking news story in just a minute, you'll see things took a giant step forward based upon a separate lawsuit filed just late last night. As we know, controversy has long surrounded Governor Ron DeSantis and his use of gubernatorial power. So before we get to the latest legal conundrum in which the Florida governor finds himself embroiled, let's take a quick look back at some of the high or lowlights of his controversial tenure as the governor of the Sunshine State.
We're not going to let this state descend into some type of woke dumpster fire. Woke ideology. Woke ideology. Woke executives. Florida is where woke goes to die.
You don't have to wear this mask. I mean, please take it off. Honestly, it's not doing anything. We got to stop with this social speed. So if you want to wear it, it's fine, but this is ridiculous.
People know that Florida is a free state. They're not going to be shut down. They're not going to have restrictions.
Ron DeSantis is taking credit for flying 2 planes carrying dozens of migrants to Martha's Vineyard.
It's only when they go to D.C., New York, or, of course, Martha's Vineyard. It's sad that it comes to this, but what we did put this issue front and center.
Teaching critical race theory in Florida's K-12 public schools could soon be illegal.
Floridians want our school system to be about educating kids, not indoctrinating kids.
Florida's so-called Don't Say Gay bill is now law.
How many parents want their kindergartners to have transgenderism or something injected into classroom instruction? So I'm not always the most popular guy in D.C., but I did have support from someone in Washington.
Ron DeSantis is extraordinary.
Make America great again.
Trump at 71, Ron DeSanctimonious at 10%.
This latest breaking report of another DeSantis lawsuit you're about to hear in a second, it's huge. But of course, he's no stranger to megawatt lawsuits.
Disney is suing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, claiming he punished Disney by taking over its special self-governing theme park district. Disney says the move was in retaliation for the company's opposition to a state law which bans lessons about sexual orientation and gender identity in schools.
And so, Governor DeSantis again finds himself at the eye of a legal storm that has gale force winds behind it and has Florida's sunshine laws of public disclosure hovering above it. ABC News is reporting today that former top law enforcement official in Florida is accusing Governor Ron DeSantis and his top aides of forcing him to retire after he refused to carry out orders he said were illegal or inappropriate, according to a lawsuit filed overnight last night. Shane Desgens, Army veteran and career employee of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, rose to become the agency's chief of staff. He alleges his retirement in November was actually a wrongful termination and was the result of him blowing the whistle on a host of issues, including violations of state public record laws, illegal orders to arrest demonstrators without probable cause, and directives to obtain photos and personal information from migrants flown to the Sunshine State without legal justification. Despite his stellar work performance during his employment, the lawsuit says Deskins was subjected to disparate treatment, different terms and conditions of employment, and held to a different standard because he reported the defendant's malfeasance, gross misconduct, and unlawful employment activities, and was subject to retaliation thereafter. The lawsuit was filed in the state circuit court in Tallahassee and names both DeSantis and FDLE, long viewed as one of the nation's premier state-level law enforcement agencies. Deskins is seeking unspecified damages. And so Governor Ron DeSantis continues to warm the Sunshine State with his overreaching and unchecked political agenda. And now it'll be up to the courts to determine if this lawsuit stops DeSantis in his tracks as a runaway train of serious accusations is rolling full steam ahead. And that faint sound in the distance must make the governor's ears ring, because when you're the conductor of the Florida Conservative Express, the last thing you want to hear is a whistle blowing.